What a great week 6 for the Rams. This is RamView.
It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Hang on, okay.
Live from the RamCave, I'm Joe Terozina, and this is RamView, the October 14th, 2024 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident, need help, got questions, call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And of course, by Benched, the app. Don't get a zero. Don't take a goose egg on your fantasy team because you didn't update it on time. Download Benched, the app today. All right, happy Harold Jackson Day. I usually don't talk Ram history.
It was a stone groove,
yes,
my man.
Happy Harold Jackson Day was a stone groove.
It was a stone groove,
Because
my man.
on October 14th, 1973, Harold Jackson scored 4 touchdowns in the first half on passes from John Hadle to defeat the Cowboys 37-31 ultimately. And it was probably the greatest. It was the day that solidified me as a Ram fan for life. Couldn't see the game. Had to listen to it on the radio, hear Dick Enberg make the call of Hadle going long to Jackson, how he torched Charlie Waters, how the Cowboys learned Charlie Waters was not a cornerback that day, and a nice shout-out opportunity for Rams defensive back special team player, all-around good guy, Al Clark, who picked off Roger Staubach to preserve the 37-31 win. Check out NFL Game of the Week, and you'll see that. Great day in Ram history. And also it was a great weekend. I know I was gone Wednesday and Friday. I was in my hotel room and it just was too hard for me to get online. I know I did a show on Monday. We're back in a regular groove this week. So, but the Rams were on bye. So just watching the NFL this week, a couple things. Aiden Hutchinson, you're trying to figure out how did he break his leg? And I still don't know how he broke his leg. But I saw the broken leg when he did that Tim Krumrie flop of his lower left leg there. That was pretty gross. Yeah, he took a big hit there, and that was a major bummer. You know, Lions blow the doors off the Cowboys, which is always makes for a great weekend for me. I was speaking to Steeler fan Rob and Mr. Burns via messaging, and I was wondering. I think I shared with them. Just before that, I was wondering when is Campbell going to start pulling some of his starters, because this game is toast. And it was a couple plays later that Aiden went down, and that, as good as Detroit looked yesterday, as bad as the Cowboys were, I don't see the Lions progressing without Aiden Hutchinson. They're going to have a collective team effort. And I saw it said he had surgery. He should recover, no timetable on his return. But I'm guessing with that kind of a break, he's done until next September. So real bummer there. Do enjoy watching Aiden Hutchinson play. Love watching the Cowboys get worked. That was a special moment there. I was waiting for Jacksonville. To kiffin Doug Peterson. And if you know what it means to be kiffined, it means you're not allowed on the plane or the team bus. You're just fired right where you're at. And nothing bad I could say about Doug Peterson, except the Jacksonville Jaguars just look horrible right now. And he's got to be next on the list, right? We had, I don't want to use the bad phrase here. We had Saleh on our Deadpool list. He got it. And I think Saleh was emancipated as opposed to fired. I mean, he should walk away feeling freed that he's no longer coach of the Jets. He's going to make some money, doesn't have to do anything for this year. And then he picks and chooses where he wants to go be a DC next year, right? And Ram fans got to stop salivating, right? Oh, bring him in now. We'll get to Ram stuff here in a minute. Ravens, I feel like I've seen it all before. Everyone's talking Super Bowl now for the Ravens, right? But again, seen it all before, like John Paul and George. It's like nothing new. Dominate September, October. It's like, oh, these guys look great. Let's find out where they are in January. And that brings me back to the team they beat yesterday. They beat the Taxkins 30-23. After watching the Giants and Cowboys, do they beat the Taxkins? Right? Are they a better team than the Taxkins? No, I think the Taxkins are a better team. I think right now the Taxkins would beat the Eagles. Something to keep an eye on. Other thing that came up: Panthers looked horrible this weekend, as did the Patriots against the Texans. And you just have to wonder, if the Patriots and Panthers played, would anyone notice? Would anyone care? I think exhibition games, I think the Hall of Fame game would draw more fans right now than watching the Panthers and Patriots play. And if I'm Drake May, I'm rejecting any contract extension they want to give me as long as Gerard Mayo is the head coach. As long as Gerard Mayo is the head coach in New England, all the Patriots are thinking about is still reaching back to Belichick, and they're doing a disservice to Drake May. I know he had 3 touchdowns yesterday, but the Patriots look bad, really bad. The Raiders dropped at home to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh lost at home to Dallas. Pittsburgh lost at home to Dallas, right? And the Raiders couldn't manage anything against the Steelers yesterday. And the Antonio Pierce effect seems to be waning in Vegas. I thought it would go through the season, but they needed a better effort. And I don't care if it's Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell. I think some of these players are checking out. I think it's pretty obvious some of these players are checking out on Antonio Pierce. Speaking of getting into the NFC West, I first want to talk about Jordan Love. Jordan Love looked great yesterday. Packers look dangerous. Keep an eye on them, especially now little doors open. Detroit's defense isn't going to be what everyone expected it to be. And that's a juggernaut there in the NFC North. When you're talking Jordan Love, whatever's going on in Minnesota with Sam Darnold, and then you're talking Jared Goff, and then Caleb Williams. And so I bring it up because I mentioned Jordan Love, and I was talking about the NFC West is because they did us a favor and they knocked off the Cardinals, and that's where I want to go. Let's take a look at the NFC West because it was a great weekend for the Rams. It was a fantastic weekend for the Rams. First, no one got hurt, right? No one got hurt this weekend for the Rams. That's a winner there. Also, they didn't lose a game this week, right? We didn't lose this week. So there is a positive, right? Yeah. You got to take on that Ogilvy approach from the Bad News Bears when they lose their second game, but they finish the game and they hit 19 foul balls. And one of their runners almost reached first base. So where the Rams have been at 1-4 this year, no one got hurt. They didn't lose. Great weekend. And on top of that, the NFC West suffered significant losses this week, which was fantastic. On Thursday, I was murdered on the boards for saying we need to root for Frisco. And I put it on some message boards, and I'm getting the treatment, man. You're not a real Ram fan. This is the crowd that does the disservice to the Horns Up community. I kind of just push myself away from ever saying Horns Up because these are the people that look at the Rams and you got to win all the time, or it's got to be perfect. It's got to fit the narrative. And they say horns up, horns up, horns up. And the truth is the 49ers did the Rams a service on Thursday. They kept the Seattle Seahawks within 2 games of the Rams, right? They kept the Seattle Seahawks within 2 games of the Rams. And this is what we need to point out. The Rams are not going to be a wild card team. At this point, Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, the Bears, Philly, DC, Atlanta, Tampa Bay all look like playoff teams. Detroit, Green Bay, and the Bears all have wins against the Rams. All right? We're going to find out about Minnesota here real soon. All those teams are high-end playoff teams, right? And we're not even talking about, well, I think that's it. I think I did mention the Taxkins. So it's highly unlikely the Rams are going to be in a position for a wild card. But the avenue to January for the Rams is as a division winner. This division is wide open. And Frisco's win over Seattle keeps both teams within 2 games of the Rams, and the Rams have a victory over Frisco. The Cardinals lost to Green Bay. And you can see the Cardinals are all over the map. They look fantastic against the depleted Rams team. They pulled out something weird up in Frisco and then got the doors blown off completely in Green Bay. And so the Cardinals are struggling. The Rams, get this, folks, the Rams are potentially 1 week away from getting back in the NFC West race, okay? In week 7, the Rams play the struggling Raiders with the Antonio Pierce effect waning, right? So that's going on there. Seattle goes to Atlanta. Have you seen Kirk Cousins right now? I'll take Kirk Cousins over Geno Smith any day of the week. Drake London and those guys, yeah, I think I'm leaning Atlanta in that game. The 49ers get the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs have been doing it with smoke, mirrors, and Mahomes. And you know what? The advantage to any team with smoke and mirrors is to have Mahomes. That's going to be interesting to see, right? That's going to be really interesting. And you're going to bet against the Chiefs against Kyle Shanahan, right? Andy Reid against Kyle Shanahan. So there's a possibility there. 49ers, a good possibility. 49ers lose at home to the Chiefs. And the Cardinals next Monday night get the Chargers. Chargers are winning on the road. Chargers can win tough games. This is not the Mike McCoy, Anthony Lynn, Brandon Staley Chargers. They're not great, but they're not going to give away things, right? So they're gonna beat the Cardinals next week. I fully believe they're going to beat the Cardinals next week. And when we open up the newspaper, as we used to say, or click on the computer next Tuesday morning, San Francisco and Seattle could both be 3-4. The Cardinals 2-5, and the Rams 2-4. And by a half game, the Rams would be out of the cellar in the NFC West and back in this race with a 1-game separation between them, Frisco, and Seattle. 1 game and a victory over Frisco in the bank. So you carry that into week 8. Now, again, it's contingent on the Rams winning, but look who's coming back. The Rams have players coming back the further we get into these next few weeks. Look at week 8. Look at week 8. I see you, Mr. Burns. I'm going to get there in a second. Look at week 8. Vikings come to LA. Now, that's a tough match, but it's a short week for them as well as it is for us in the Royal Us. And on top of that, the Rams are going to be healthier. That's a game the Rams can win. Cardinals go to Miami. Depends on where 2 is at. Bills go to the Seahawks. I'll take Josh Allen over Geno Smith. And the Cowboys go to Frisco. So there's a Frisco blowout. So by the end of week 8, Frisco could be 4-4. The Rams can be 3-4. Seattle 3-5. The Cardinals 2-6. And then if you move forward to week 9, I don't want to go too far in the future. In week 9, the Rams go to Seattle. Bears go to the Cardinals, right? And I believe Frisco is on bye. Rams can beat Seattle. They're going to have to beat Seattle if they want to stay alive. The Rams can beat Seattle. And the Bears go to the Cardinals, and the Bears are like a really hot team right now. And if that works out, the Rams could be 4-4. Frisco 4-4. Rams have the advantage because they beat Frisco head-to-head. And Seattle's 3-6, Cardinals 2-7. Now, that's if everything plays out, but you can see the Rams' path back to the playoffs is through the NFC West, and it's an opportunity to get back into this in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks. I don't think any of these things, other than Ram victories, I think the Seattle one's going to be tough. I think the Vikings one's going to be tough. But the chips are moving towards the Rams side of the field here because players are getting healthy, right? And they're going to be better in the second half. And they have an opportunity here to keep their destiny in their own hands. Their fate is in their own hands. And they can get back in this because it's going to be tough for these other teams to sustain it. No one has separated themselves from the pack. This is a possibility, guys. Something very much so to think on. I'm Joe Terosian. I was a sports writer for 21 years. Now I do RamView, thanks to our sponsors at Kistler Law. And I'm very grateful to do that. I also write books. My latest book, Game Day in the RamCave, has done really well. Thank you for your support. Please check it out. Take a picture of yourself. Let me know if you bought it. Leave a review. Reviews are like gold. You know, no one leaves reviews anymore. But if you can leave a review, that would be great as well. It's a fictional book about a hypothetical Rams-Packers NFC title game. So please, if you get a chance, check it out. I do RamView. I write the books because it sustains me, my day job. I pastor a small church in Burbank called Burbank Faith Nazarene. And you can check us out right here on YouTube at Burbank Faith Virtual, burbankfaith.com, virtual.com, Burbank Faith Virtual, all across social media. So a few questions have rolled in. And let's see. Steeler fan Rob, Dallas was lucky on that last play of the game. Steeler fan Rob, you couldn't even beat the Cowboys defense. You know how far back you are right now offensively? Did you see what the Lions did to the Cowboys? That same Cowboy team that didn't have any defensive players left. And did you see what the Lions did to them? You're living on borrowed time, amigo. And I don't think Russell Wilson's the answer. I don't think Justin Fields the answer. But what I'm really hoping for, if I'm a Ravens fan, a Browns fan, a Bengals fan, is that the Steeler fans think Justin Fields the answer, and you make a commitment to him. Go ahead. If you believe in him, sign him, make a commitment to him. But you couldn't even get points on the board against the Dallas Cowboys? Please. Lucky. I don't know. Tim Burns, I'm calling it 10-7. If the Rams go 10-7 in the present setup in the NFC West, the Rams are going to win the NFC West. And, from your lips, Mr. Burns, to the football god's ears, right? Tim Burns, Goff is near perfect the last 2 weeks. We know what happens when Goff is in a groove. I said preseason, KC, Detroit. My only thing there is everyone has to stay healthy on offense, and they're going to have to run the Loyola Marymount offense because I think without Aiden Hutchinson, they're going to struggle. And again, I'll say this. The defense looked good. Ali McNeil, all them look good, but you're playing the Cowboys. You're playing the Cowboys. And so that could be fool's gold for people thinking, well, the Detroit defense is going to be okay. I don't think it's going to be okay without Aiden Hutchinson. So we'll see. Tim Burns, I wish to brag about my first ever perfect Sunday. 13-0 in picks. All right. Good for you. I was 12-1. 12-1. There we go. Tim Burns, game day is good, Joe T. I'm 1/3 through it. Excellent. Thank you so much. Tim Burns, Hutchinson is sad. Could have been on the bench. I agree. There's some questions to be asked there, right? Steeler fan Rob, Fields is the man. Like Michael Jackson said to Paul McCartney, you keep dreaming. You keep dreaming. Okay, we're not going to do a long show here today, guys. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. I got on early because I am going to the Dodgers Mets today. Yes, I'm going to the Dodger Met game. I've been invited, so yes, that's where I'm going to go. And forgive me for not being on at 5 p.m. The game first pitch is at 1. But let's talk college football real quick here and around the NFL and other places. Ohio State lost to Oregon, and what I'm trying to figure out is Ohio State had Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall, Michigan State, and Iowa in their column, in their victory column. Michigan State, Iowa, they're traditional mid-level powers, but Marshall, Western Michigan, and Akron. And I'm supposed to believe Ohio State's the best team in the country? Well, it looks like they went to Oregon, which is not a great Oregon team. I don't think it's a great Oregon team. I think they got an experienced quarterback and a team that knows how to win, but that's not a great Oregon team. I don't think it's a great Oregon team. And yet Ohio State lost. I'm sick of Ohio State, and I'm anti-Ohio State. I'm sick of hearing about how good they are. What are you selling me? What are you selling me on Ohio State? The USC loss was brutal. B-R-U-T-E-A-L, not E-L. A-L was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. Bad look for Lincoln Riley. Here's the thing. The Trojans are interesting to watch. They're not bad on both sides of the ball. They're exciting to watch offensively. And, you got to kind of chill right here and keep the faith in Lincoln Riley. They're going to get better players, right? And so I'm not into the fire Lincoln Riley just yet. There's no John McKay walking through that door, right? There's no John McKay. So, that USC loss was pretty brutal. Minnesota came in, beat UCLA. It's like the Patriots playing the Panthers, right? Who cares? Anyway, going to the Dodgers Mets today. I'm having a lot of fun with my Dodger fan friends, but I can see the writing on the wall. The Mets team has exceeded all expectations. And suddenly, I've never seen a bullpen turn itself around. I could be wrong. I'm more football guy than baseball guy, but I've never seen a bullpen turn itself around the way the Dodgers have. And they're pitching too. Flaherty was great yesterday. I heard one person say he was channeling some Hershiser. I don't know about that, but yeah, they've shut everyone down. 3 consecutive shutouts. over 30 consecutive innings of scoreless ball. The Mets have been playing great baseball. They played up to this point. They played the best baseball in the postseason, except for the last couple games. I think the Dodgers have kind of found themselves, and I'm scared. I'm really worried the Dodgers could go to the World Series. Yeah, that's what I'm just enjoying the moment. There we go. Looking at this last week, I took the 49ers over the Seahawks in the Richard Sherman Bowl. I thought Brock Purdy looked great, and I don't know why people are bagging on Brock Purdy. Caleb Williams, 35-16 over the Jaguars, right? We talk about Trevor Lawrence. Something's going on there, and Doug Peterson's not the answer, and Caleb Williams is coming into his own. The only part I was disappointed about Caleb Williams is I got 4 fantasy teams, and on each of those fantasy teams, I got DJ Moore, I got Rome Odunze, I got Keenan McCardle, and he throws 2 touchdown passes to Cole Kmet. So, Caleb, straighten yourself out. Help me, please. Ravens, they beat the Texans 30-23. And if the Ravens were a Super Bowl team, they should have won by more. I could see a January headline where the Ravens get bounced from the playoffs. And the headline's going to be, Ravens lack defense to support Lamar. It's always, he didn't have this. He didn't have that. He always has this. He doesn't have that. There's always some reason. I think Lamar is very good. I don't think he's great. If he gets through January, gets to February, I'm going to put him in the great column, but he always comes up short because he doesn't have the passing chops. He's good, but he doesn't have the passing chops. He works hard, but he doesn't have the passing chops. He's a team leader, but he doesn't have the passing chops. He gets better every year, but he's not quite there yet. Cardinals lost to the Packers in the MacArthur Lane Bowl. Did you see Kyler Murray's body language? That really bugs me. One of the things that bugs me the most about Kyler Murray is it's always somebody. It looks like his body language says to me he's always pointing a finger at somebody else. He got tackled on an RPO and a keeper, and he kind of held his hands out like this. And who's he talking to? His offensive line. Somebody else blew this, kind of showing somebody else up on the field. He did this to AJ Green a few years ago when they got off to that hot start and the Packers beat them in Phoenix. And there's something about his body language. In fact, there's a character in my book, Tangent Dreams, who's a backup quarterback named Billy Hudson. And of course, I wrote that before Kyler Murray came to the NFL. But Billy Hudson reminds me of Kyler Murray. It's always somebody else's fault. And that's why I'm not all in on Kyler Murray. Texans at Patriots, the Romeo Cornell Bowl. CJ Stroud, man. I'm happy to say I was completely wrong about that guy. Not that I was a Bryce Young guy, but CJ Stroud, man. He got away from Ryan Day, and now he looks like a great quarterback. Maybe Ohio State wasn't the place for him. Buccaneers at the Saints. Always love to see the Saints lose. Baker Mayfield threw 3 picks, but Baker Mayfield seems to be having the time of his life. Picked up Bucky Irvin on a free agent thing just before the weekend, and Bucky Irvin gave me a great game. Huge game offensively for the Buccaneers. I don't know between them and Atlanta who's going to win the AFC South, but Buccaneers are a dangerous team. They're a dangerous team, and I don't know if I'd want to play them right now. Browns, Eagles. Nick Sirianni, right? He got another win. They're 3-2, but Nick Sirianni is like the George Costanza of the NFL coaching ranks, right? It's like he's trying to get fired, right? It's like he's working how to get fired. What does a head coach go start chirping away for to fans in the stands? 1, you're never going to win. 2, it's Philadelphia, right? Philadelphia. I'm sure at some point between 1973 and 1987, they probably booed Mike Schmidt, right? It's Philadelphia. They're going to boo you. They're going to chirp. And Sirianni, in the midst of a 4-point win over the Browns, That's why I kind of like the Texans over Philly right now. He's chirping. He's chirping with his fans. Unbelievable. Colts and Titans. Flacco fever is for real. Flacco fever. That guy just keeps pulling out. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the Colts, the way they just keep hanging in there. I love watching them play. Great win for the Bolts against the Broncos. Now, I don't think the Broncos are a superior team, but we know the Bolts have been banged up. They went into Mile High, Invesco, Mile High, .20, whatever it's called in Denver now. And all the momentum was with the Broncos, 3 in a row. And Harbaugh went in there whether he had stomach cramps or not. I don't know what it was. And the Chargers won. Good for them. I'll give this to the Steelers. I slammed on them, but Steelers keep finding a way. They are the epitome of winning ugly. They just find a way to win, except against the Cowboys on a Monday night. Falcons and Panthers. Carolina is the JV of the NFL. Kirk Cousins is on fire. Falcons, Buccaneers coming down. That next meeting, I think, is in Tampa Bay. That's going to decide the AFC South. Lions at Cowboys in the Eddie Murray Bowl. I'm all for running up the score. I saw Merton Hankins, the former safety for the 49ers, said they shouldn't be running up the score. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's the Cowboys. They've run up scores on everybody. The stinking America's team. Run up the score. These guys are professionals. You don't like it, do something about it. I'm all for running up the score. And as a coach who's coached in games, amateur, of course, I've always told teams, feel free to run up the score. I want my guys to feel the misery of defeat. I've even called timeouts when the clock was running to make my guys suffer longer if I felt they weren't focused, because you want people to understand how painful it is to lose. And in the NFL, I don't think that Cowboy team is focused. And I know people like CeeDee Lamb, but I wouldn't want CeeDee Lamb on my team. I like Dak Prescott's character, personality, but I wouldn't want him at 61 Rocks because I don't think he's that good of a quarterback. Cowboys got problems, and it's marvelous to see. All right, let's look at some questions that have come in. I'm going to be ending this in about 5 minutes, guys, because I have got to get on the road to Dodger Stadium. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. Steeler fan Rob, sorry about Hutchinson, but Lions are still going to win the NFC. Hey, if it's not the Rams, I have no problem with the Lions winning the NFC. Tim Burns, Fields throws 6 yards of completion. There we go. Steeler fan Rob, go Dodgers. Oh, yeah. Tim Burns, Joe, get a Met shirt. I will Venmo you. I have a Met shirt. I am wearing a Cespedes jersey to the game today. Manuel Vasquez, go Dodgers. All right, Manny, thank you for clicking on. Tim Burns, it looks like Pac-12 will look like the best of the Mountain West with the bottom of the old Pac-12 and Sac State added in. Not scary, but Power 5. Is it going to be considered Power 5? Is it going to be? I wish they would just get a new TV deal, a new TV network, so I like Washington State. I've always been a Washington State fan. Tim Burns, Daniels lost, but he is for real. He has poise. Yep, there you go. Absolutely. Tim Burns, Trey White from SDSU has 10.5 sacks in 4 games. Tim Burns, Kyler Murray does show people up, always has. Manuel Vasquez, I saw that body language on Murray and thought to myself, he hasn't changed, and that's all, and that he'll always be a finger pointer. Great. I'm glad I'm not the only one seeing it. Yeah, we used to see that a lot in high school ball, and you think guys would mature out of that, and they don't necessarily do that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Manny. KJ Brazil, thank you so much for clicking on. Minnesota and Washington are the best teams right now in the NFC. Right, it's hard to argue against Minnesota, and I don't know if Washington's the best team, but it's a team I wouldn't want to play. It's absolutely a team I wouldn't want to play. They are playing super well right now, and I was wrong about Jaden Daniels. I'm still living in my Arizona State days of watching him play, where he didn't look like much to me. I didn't give him the benefit of the doubt in LSU, but he's totally proved me wrong, and I'll admit to that. Tim Burns, Pitt is Baltimore. Defense carried a below-average quarterback and offense. Ooh, are you saying that about Lamar Jackson? Below average? I don't think he's below average. Tim Burns, I loved when the camera panned to Jerry Jones. The wife asked who he was. I said, a guy about to fire some people. Yeah, he took offense when someone asked if he was going to fire anybody. And I don't know what he's going to do. It was his birthday yesterday. You could tell he wasn't happy. So, yeah, that's interesting. KJ Brazil, Hanks has room to talk when the Niners beat us in St. Louis. Yeah, right? Remember the guy used to do the whole chicken dance thing? It's like, you're talking about not running up a score, Chief? Nah, I'm running up the score. I'm not going to run it up deliberately and keep my starters in. But believe it or not, I'm going to have to end with this, guys, because my ride here is going to be mad at me for not being out here. But I was covering a high school football game, and team won like 42-6. And in the second half, all they did was run the ball. And and they didn't pass. They just ran the ball, kill clock and everything. But the running back ended up running for 330 yards because nobody could tackle him. At the end of the game, the coach that lost was mad at the coach that won, who just ran the ball the whole second half. And he says, you were running up the score on me. It's like, what do you want me to do? I'm running the ball, right? I'm not passing the ball. Would you have preferred if I had passed the ball? Help me, right? Run up that score. Let the experience build men and character, right? Guys, I truly hate to take away. I will send pics. I'll post pics today. Daniels and CJ Stroud played basketball in SoCal. I didn't know about CJ Stroud. I did not know that. KJ, thank you. Guys, if you get a chance, be sure to subscribe, leave questions. I promise I'm getting back into a rhythm this week, and we'll talk more about the Raider game. Be sure to check out my book on Amazon, Game Day in the RamCave. God bless. Take care. I got to roll. God bless.